Okay, so far we've made our movies template with a rollover effect, sidebar effect, formatted some text, did the background images, gradient, background colors. We also made an index page, our first page, our home page. We made some nested div tags called posters div tags to hold our individual posters in. We aligned those centered, put some padding on them. Made an about page. We saw how we can make nested div tags for text and images. And we can format those images by aligning those right or left and putting padding around those. Now we're going to start making our movie pages. I'm going to make my first movie page for Night of the Living Dead. So we're going to go to File, New, Site Template, Movies, and My Movies Template. Create. First thing I should do is save this. Save as Night of the Living Dead .html. I see this one I called this Night _ Dead. We should not have any spaces or anything, and no capital letters. Save. I'm going to highlight this heading 1 and call it Night of the Living Dead. And I'm going to put my website slogan there. Be afraid. Be very afraid. I'm going to highlight that paragraph text, and I'm going to do a brief little description of this movie. Night of the Living Dead was the first film to feature modern zombies. A horde of recently dead rise from the grave and attack a small group in a farmhouse. This movie was filmed in Pittsburgh, PA. Alright, that's enough for now. Well, I could just hit enter, insert an image, hit enter, embed a video, hit enter, add some interactive tabs for more information, and keep everything in line, but that doesn't give me a whole lot of control over the layout. So I'm going to show you how you can use div tags. That's fine if you want to do it the other way, inline way, but I'm going to show you how to use div tags to give yourself a little more control. I'm going to highlight that text I just typed out, and I'm going to make a div tag. And Dreamweaver can, since it's highlighted, can put that text right into that div tag. So I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to, under Structure, I'm going to insert a div tag. I want this div tag to wrap around that selection. So whatever I had selected will be in this new div tag. I'm going to make this a class. I'm going to call this Movie Text. You can call it whatever you want. It's a new CSS rule. I'm making sure it goes to the movie style sheet. Okay. I'm going to give it a background color just so we can see what it'll look like. So we can see the boundaries of that div tag a little easier. But we don't have to have a background color. I could put a background color, gradient, or a background image if I wanted to. I'm going to go to the box, define the width. I want this to be about half. I'm going to make this page basically into 2 columns. And I want this text to be in roughly half the size of the page, and a column half the size of the page. So I'm going to do width at 45%. And the height you can do either auto or a preset size. I'm going to do 400 pixels. For now I may change it to auto later. I'm going to float this left, and I'm going to do a margin. I'm going to do a margin at the top of about 20 pixels. I'm going to do one at the bottom of 20 pixels. Now I'm going to have 2 columns at 45% each. So 45% of 100 is 90%. 45 plus 45 is 90%, which will leave us 10% for margins. Well, I have 3 margins to work with. So 10% divided by 3 is 3.33%. So just to review, we should have a width of 45%, a height of 400 pixels, or some other setting of pixels. It's up to you. Float left, top margin of 20, bottom margin of 20, and the left margin of 3.33. And I'm going to say OK and OK. Now I see I place the text inside that div tag. Well, I could select that div tag, arrow twice on my keyboard, and insert another div tag. Or I can go to my code side. I think this is a little easier. Click just to the right of that div tag I put in there, to the code, hit enter, and I'm going to insert another div tag. I'm going to call this one movie pics, or movie pic. You can call it whatever you want. It's a new, we're going to put our image in here. It's going to the movie style sheet. Okay. I'm going to do a background color. You can always take that off later. I just want you to be able to see the parameters of that div tag. And once again, I want this one to be the same size, 45%, height of 400. I want this to float left, top margin 20 pixels, bottom margin 20 pixels, and once again, left hand margin of 3.33%. Okay, and okay. Let me go to the design side. That's where I'm going to put my image. I'm going to highlight that default text that's placed there and delete that. Alright, so I'm still in this movie pic div tag. I'm going to insert a common element, which is an image. I'm going to insert that image. There's my movie poster. There it is. I can make it a little bit larger. Hold the shift key down, make it a little bit larger, a little bit smaller. Size is up to you. And well, I know this is 400 pixels high. I can make this 380. And then that will give us 20 pixels to work with, so I can put some padding at the top. Alright, so let's make a few more rules for this. There's my movie pic CSS, my CSS designer panel. I go to my text selection, and on text align center. That'll center my image. And I want to move it down a little from the top, so I'm going to go to the layout selection here. And I'm going to put 10 pixels of padding on the top. That'll move the image down 10 pixels. If I put 10 pixels onto the top, I'm going to have to take away 10 pixels from the height. And that will keep these div tags at the same size. So there, it looks pretty good. I'm going to go back to the code side. We're going to create the div tag for our video. And click to the right of that code line for that movie poster div tag. And I'm going to hit enter or return on a Mac. I'm going to insert my next div tag. I'm going to call this one movie vid. It's a new rule. It's going to this movie style sheet. I'm going to give it a background color, which I may take off later. Define the width. Well, the box is 100%. I want this to go all the way across that whole box, but I want enough room for my margins. I'm going to do 93% for the width. I'm going to do auto for the height, so stretch out to fit that video. I'm going to fold this left, and I'm going to do a margin at the bottom. There's no right or wrong here. I'm going to do 20% or 20 pixels. And I'm going to do margin at the left of 3.33, so it'll roughly line up with the other div tags. 93% width, auto height, float left, 20 pixels at the bottom, 3.33% for the left-hand margin. Say OK, and OK. Let's go back to the design side. And there it is. It's a very small div tag right now because there's not much content in it. I'm going to highlight that code there, or that text there. That's where my movie's going to go. So now I'm going to go to YouTube. I have my Night of the Living Dead movie selected. Classic movie. I go to Share, Embed. It should highlight the code for you. Copy that, Command C. Go back to Dreamweaver. Go to the code side. Highlight that text. And paste your video code there in place of it. Now, that'll place your video in there, but it's pretty tight to the left side of that div tag. I could come back over here And on either side of the video code, I can put a P tag, a paragraph tag. That way it'll put some of that preset padding on there from the paragraph rules. Go back to my design side and you can see it moves them. Gives me a little more margin around my video. Now I can look at this at the live view or preview it in Safari. Save those changes. And there we are. So it's a pretty good layout. And with the div tags, it's easy to rearrange the div tags. If I want to rearrange the text, switch around with the image, vice versa. In a couple of weeks, we'll see how we can make a div tag and add some interactive tabs at the bottom for layering of information.